Okay, I think that Raphael, do you want to say something?
Yeah, actually, there's another problem that I didn't mention in the video because I was sent down to the audience. There's another problem, Hamad. Do you know what it is with this particular hadith?
Yes, I'm listening.
Because of this incident, Allah revealed two chapters of the Quran, right? Surah 113 and 114, the Muawwidhatayn surahs of the Quran. So, chapter 113 and chapter 114 are revealed because of this spell
Yeah, so
and was actually revealed in
yes,
the time that Muhammad was under this spell.
Surah Falak and Nas,
Yeah.
when there was magic.
Okay. So these surahs were revealed to Muhammad when he was under the spell, to cure him from this spell, right? To heal him from this spell of this particular Jew. So God revealed Surah 113 and 114.
Yeah, so that's like the surah you recite for magic.
Okay.
That was the purpose of the chapters, 113
Yeah,
and
this
14,
is the
Falak and
purpose.
Nas.
And so now I will tell you the problem of this, because during this spell, Muhammad used to imagine things which in fact did not occur. And Sufyan said this is the hardest kind of magic because it had such an effect. Yet these surahs were revealed in that condition. When Muhammad was in that condition, these so-called surahs were revealed. So how do we know that Muhammad didn't imagine these surahs? Because he used to imagine things which in fact did not occur. And during this time period that he imagined things that did not occur, suddenly two surahs were revealed. So how do we know that Muhammad didn't imagine that these surahs were revealed when in fact they weren't? Like he imagined that he had sexual relation with his wife, where he actually had not. Can you answer that question?
So, like, imagine what. So, what is it that he was imagining?
The hadith in Bukhari, there are two hadiths. This hadith is mutawatir. Both hadiths state that Muhammad used to imagine things which in fact did not occur when he was under this spell. And the hadith are actually mentioned and referenced in the video. I referenced the hadith. I can give you the hadith, no problem. But the hadith state that Muhammad used to think that he had sexual relations with his wife where he actually had not. And then Sufyan commented on that and stated, this is the hardest kind of magic because it had such an effect. Yet we know that Allah revealed two surahs when Muhammad was in this condition. So how can we conclude that Muhammad didn't imagine that Allah revealed these surahs, but that Allah actually revealed these surahs because he was delusional at the moment?
So, how can you conclude it to be otherwise?
And I actually can quote another Sahabi, namely Ibn Masud, because Ibn Masud actually declined and denied that Surah 113 and 114 are part of the Quran. And he states in his works that these were just verses that want to try to heal Muhammad, but they are not part of the Quran because he has problems when Muhammad was in that state to actually see that they are authentic. So Ibn Masud, one of the Sahabis, and the one that Muhammad appointed to learn the Quran from, in Sahih al-Bukhari, he appointed 4 men to learn the Quran from, and the first one that he called was Ibn Masud. And Ibn Masud was an Hafiz. He memorized the Quran and was one of the greatest scholars on the Quran. And he didn't include chapter 113 and 114 in his codex, in his Mus'haf, in his Quran. So his Quran had only 111 chapters. He didn't include Surah Al-Fatiha, and he didn't include Surah 113 and Surah 114 because he stated these are just prayers and not part of the Quran.
So, are you talking about the Musaf of Ibn Masud?
Yes.
So, where's the Musaf of Ibn Masud? I
So you
don't
don't
think
know
we
it?
I don't think we have the Musaf of Ibn Masud.
Are you sure? Because Imam Ahmed actually states, Ahmed ibn Hanbal,
I know who
okay,
Ibn
in
Hanbal
his
is.
works, he states that Imam Masud didn't include Surah Al-Fatiha and Surah 113 and 114. Was Imam Ahmed ibn Hanbal, was he lying?
I don't know, but where's the Musaf of Ibn Masud? That's my
Just
question.
just Google right now
Sir,
Ibn Masud
sir,
111 chapters. because Imam Ahmed actually referenced to Ibn Masud and mentioned this fact. Al-Bahaki also mentions this fact. Imam al-Suyuti in Fit Itqan al-Quran mentions this fact. Imam al-Tabari mentions this fact. So we have different scholars all mentioning the fact that Ibn Masud didn't include chapter 1, chapter 113 and 114. So we have scholarly references from the time period that state that Imam Masud didn't include these chapters. We are drafting off the topic. So I'm asking you right now, why did Muhammad became under the spell when the Quran actually stated Allah will protect him from evil?
Yeah, this depends
And
on what you mean by evil and what kind of evil.
so
Like,
what?
you
So
can
how
be,
do
you
you
can have,
define it?
so you can, so I think like the context of the verse is like like Satan cannot deceive you from the right path, because if you go into, I think the chapter 2 of the Quran, it talks about the same, the same passage when Satan tells Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give him till the day of judgment, and he's gonna he's gonna deceive most of the mankind except for the chosen people. So it's maybe in that context, but I've never seen any Muslim understanding it in the context of black magic, like the verse that you're trying to quote.
Okay, so let me give you some examples. Can you quote for me? Can you read for me Surah 20 verse 69? The Hilali Khan. You want me to actually read it? Because the Quran actually explains what it meant there. It states the following: and throw that which is in your right hand, it will swallow up, and that which they have made is only magician trick, and the magician will never be successful, no matter whatever amount of skill he may attain. So what he's saying, that the magicians, those that put magic on people, they will not succeed against the true believers.
Yeah.
Yet
So
this part,
what is the context? What is the context of the verses?
the context is that magicians try to actually control the true believer. And I can give you the tafsir if you want.
Yeah. No, I don't need the tafsir. I know the tafsir. So I throw down what is in your right hand. It will swallow up all that they have thrown. So it's so what is it? How do you get, like, how do you understand this to be, you know, Satan deceiving a
Oh,
believer?
sure.
It's talking about black.
Sure.
It's talking about black. It's talking about magic. It's not talking about otherwise.
No, I will give you the explanation by a prominent website called Understanding Islam. This is from Sheikh Jalal Abdul-Rab. But what does Sheikh Jalal Abdul-Rab actually states on Understanding Islam? A very prominent website. He states the following, and he actually neglects and denies the Sahih Hadith from Bukhari because of the following. He states, it is quite obvious that the information given in these narratives is not only against the stated verses of the Quran that Allah will protect the Prophet, but also creates serious doubt about the infallibility of the prophets of God. After all, if God and his appointed angels could not or did not protect the Prophet, peace be upon him, against such a magical spell, and then what exactly is the implication of God's declaration mentioned in Surah Al-Jinn, verse 27 to 28, and his promise mentioned in Surah Al-Ma'idah, verse 67? So what he's actually stating is this has serious implications on the Quran and on the infallibility of the Prophet. If Allah couldn't protect the Prophet against this magic spell, Allah broke his own promises in the Quran. He gives us three examples. One is Surah Al-Nahl, one is Surah Al-Ma'idah, and one is Surah Al-Jinn. So, according to the opinion of this particular scholar, he agrees with my interpretation of the Quran and stating other tafsirs, for example, Tafsir al-Jalain and Ibn Abbas, that it is very clear if we accept these narrations, we also accept that Allah broke his promise and couldn't protect the Prophet, which brings serious doubt on the infallibility of the Prophet. So, what do you think about the opinion of this particular sheikh that quotes the Quran and different tafsirs?
Let's talk about the Tafsir Ibn Abbas. It's very classic. So
Okay.
what does Tafsir ibn Abbas say about this?
Did you watch the video?
No, I didn't. I'll
So
watch
you
the
didn't
video,
watch
sir.
the
I'll
video,
watch it.
right? Because I quote Ibn Abbas there. What does Ibn Abbas state concerning Surah An-Nahl, Surah 16, verse 100? What does it say?
Tafsir, I have the Tafsir. Just give me a second. Let me open it.
Very good. So what does it say?
Over those who take him as his, as their ally, Satan.
Okay. So only if you befriend Satan, Satan has authority over you, can actually influence you. So how is it possible
Sir,
that Satan influenced the thoughts of Muhammad? Because
so
Satan has only
how do
authorities
you,
over his friends,
sir,
right?
it depends. All of it boils down to what you're arguing. It boils down to what do you understand here by authority.
So if I control your mind, if Satan controls my mind and can make me think things that are
No,
actually not true,
that's
he's
not
control.
authority. No, that's not. So you're not in your senses. You don't know what's going on.
No, he make me believe things that are in fact not true. So he's
No, so
controlling my mind.
that's not how we understand it.
Who's we?
We Muslims. That's not
Okay,
how.
no
I've
more.
never
Which
seen any,
scholar? No. Who
sir.
you are saying we don't understand that? Who's we? You or a
Yeah,
scholar?
we Muslims. You can give me a
Give
scholar
me any. I
who is
gave you a
understanding.
scholar. Ibn Abbas, Tafsir al-Jalalain,
No,
all stated. I will give you
no,
another scholar. I will give you 10 scholars because we have the truth on our side, so we can give you different
no.
scholars. Hamad. Let us just read the Quran. Surah 5, because Jalal Abdul Rab, Sheikh Jalal Abdul Rab, actually quoting Surah 5, Surah Ma'idah, verse 67, sorry. I just read it for you and you can check it out. O Messenger, convey everything revealed to you from your Lord. If you do not, then you have not delivered his message. Allah will certainly protect you from the people. Indeed, Allah does not guide the people who disbelieve. So Allah is saying that He will protect Muhammad from the people, yet the people, namely a Jew, cast a spell on him, which he used to think things that were not happening. So he wasn't protected against this particular Jew, right?
So that's a misunderstanding of what the verse is saying.
So what does protect mean then?
So it's talking about the protection of the message and the messenger. It's not saying that
It says you.
like what
I
it
will
says.
protect you. It doesn't say I will protect it. Hamad,
Okay.
Hamad. When the Quran
Yeah.
states Allah will protect you or Allah will protect it, namely the message, what does it say in this verse? You or it?
It's protecting the messenger. The message
So
is
what does it mean to
being
protect the
protected as
messenger? What does it mean? What does it mean to protect the messenger?
like so. Allah will protect him from disbelievers. But it's not
So,
saying
but
anything
in
about
what
blasphemy.
sense? No. Hamad, just try to answer the question. In what sense does Allah protect Muhammad against the disbelievers?
Yeah, so they will not be able to like defeat the message or overpower him.
Oh, they are not able to harm him, right?
No,
In
it's
any
not
sense.
about harming. No,
Okay, in what sense then?
it's about the message and the
How
prophet
will the
itself.
prophet be protected? No, you're talking about the message. It doesn't say it says you. So the messenger will be protected. How will the messenger be protected?
Yeah, so he will be protected from the disbelievers.
How?
Like his iman, you can say.
So it's Imam. So his faith will be protected, not his person.
Sir, he was injured by disbelievers in the Battle of Uhud,
Yeah.
and
He was
he
killed
was
actually by
poisoned by
poisoned
a
meat,
Jew
right?
lady. Yeah, he was poisoned by a Jew lady. It's not saying in that sense.
Because no, because you say that it's not meant in that sense, because otherwise it will contradict the Quran. So you're actually saying because we have to read it in a very particular manner, because otherwise it will contradict the Quran, and Allah didn't keep His promise, right?
Yeah, so how is it contradicting the Quran? I don't understand.
So if Allah says, because for example, in the Bible, in Numbers chapter 23, God is very clear amongst His prophets. He says, "Magic will not harm you; I will protect you." So God is making in the Bible the promise to his prophets that magic will not harm them, he will protect them, right? But Muhammad wasn't protected, right? Are you still there? Do I have a voice?
Yes. Hamad, are you there?
So the Bible is very clear in his command that that the prophets will be protected against magic. Yet we see that Muhammad wasn't protected from magic. Yet the
Yeah.
Quran
So
states that that Muhammad will be protected against Satan.
so it's not talking about magic. I'm asking is how do you understand it to be magic?
Because the Hadith states it's magic.
No, how do you understand I know what the states. How do you understand
Oh,
that verse
how I understand that Allah will protect the
to be
Prophet.
magic? No. It's not. How do you specifically understand it's about magic?
It will be protected his mental and physical capabilities. Black magic was an instrument of Satan. We can find the story of Harut and Marut in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 102 and 103. So we know that black magic was the instrument of the shayateen, namely the devils. We see that Allah makes the promise to Muhammad that he will protect him against Satan. EA, if you are protected against Satan, you will also be protected against his instruments because the instruments are part of Satan. Satan uses black magic. Allah says and states that he will protect you against Satan. Therefore, you are also protected against his instruments, namely black magic. Yet, when we see that Muhammad came under the spell of black magic and remained in that condition between 40 days and 6 months, according to the sources, then how is the Prophet protected and how is the promise of God fulfilled when he wasn't protected against the instruments of Satan? And to add to the conclusion, even if we go to Surah Al-Falaq and Surah Al-Nas, these so-called surahs were revealed in the time that Muhammad was delusional. So how can we conclude that these verses were actually sent down and that Muhammad didn't just imagine that these verses were sent down? Because it's very clear that his mental state was that he was delusional. So how can we trust anything that he says in that period of time? And all Muslims agree that Surah 113 and Surah 13 are part of the Quran and were revealed when Muhammad was delusional. And there's also the reason that Ibn Masud actually denied these verses. He denied Surah 113, Surah Al-Falaq and Surah Al-Nas, because he believes that these were prayers and not part of the Quran, like Surah Al-Fatiha. These were just prayers that needed to be said. For example, Surah Al-Fatiha needed to be said before reading the Quran, and Surah 113 and 114 were just for the Prophet to get rid of the spell of this particular Jew. So to add to to confusion, we even can doubt the surahs from the Quran that were revealed in that time period.